And good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live Season 2, Episode 10. It's the weekly update and review, as ever. And on the tonight's show with me, I have Stu. Good evening, buddy.
Wait, I am Stu, right?
You are, Stu. You are.
Right, okay. Hello.
Hello, mate. Monster.
Hello.
How you doing? I'd say George, but yeah, he's picking up his kids, so he'll be back in a moment. Brian.
Science
is golden. Science, yeah. So the only ones, George will be back in a bit. He's just doing the school run. But apart from that, we're all here. So we've got a few slides tonight. We'll crack straight on with them, and because there's a little bit to discuss and that sort of stuff. So we'll get them up, or get presenting, and we'll make a start. Good evening to everybody in the chat, by the way. Right, so here we are. It's TFC, as I said, Season 2, Episode 10, 7th of March 2017. What's on tonight's show? Well, here we go. This slide pack then contains, you can read it yourselves, the Endgame, yeah, the Iron Maiden TLC, again, okay, so there's a rerun for those that didn't get it before, or if you just want another one for free, basically. Sector Threat Update, a really good thing that is. The Conqueror bonus abilities review, which is something we need to do. There's been a bit of confusion and a bit of bug fixing and tuning. Good. There's good, yeah, plenty of people in the chat, which is nice. Let's go forward. So, end game doesn't mean the end of the game. It just means it's an Endgame Tournament, basically. So this TLC obviously is going to get you the new hull, okay, and some new toys as well to go with it. We've got a new weapon, and there's a new base special as well. As it says there, then basically it's the second of the series in this faction base of campaigns. Visago this time is ordered, okay, attacking the Legion assault targets. So there's 3 Legion assault targets. I've seen them already, and there's 2 base attack targets to do. Clearly, obviously, you can use Apollos for the first 3, and then basically switch across then to your Conquerors. It does say it's ideal with Liberators, but to be honest, I've seen people using all sorts of stuff, including Prides, Malices, Vendettas, and that sort of stuff. So, and Retributions as well. So have a look around, obviously, at some people's videos. There are a couple up already, and yeah, it's definitely doable. Okay. I don't think the damage is horrendous for some. Some seem to be quite content with the damage they're getting, but you might need to fix, obviously, between definitely level 2 and level 3 without doubt. You can see their start times. Obviously, it's already started and ends. Obviously, it's gone for the full week there, so it's finishes on Tuesday the 14th, which is good. And remember, it's an OP9 only. That's why it's end game. It's the top level players only, or those that have got to OP9. So what do we get? Okay, Brian, do you want to do this slide, mate? I'm sure you're quite content with that.
Yeah. So these are the prize packs. 3 assault targets. The first run through, you get the fuel tank 01X. I'm just checking that.
Yeah, we've got a print in a minute anyway.
Yeah, and 2 one-day structure build tokens, which is nice.
Yeah.
Run through 2. It's the same 3 assault targets in the first run through and a base attack. That last one is where you're going to want to bring out your Liberators that you won 2 weeks ago and hopefully have built and ranked enough. Explosive turret D99S. I'm a little put off by that, but we'll get to that when we get to the thing itself. 1 25,000 VXP Oppressor token and 4 2-day structure build tokens.
Yeah.
So between those 2, 10 days, it's almost a turret to level 8. And the third run through, 3 assault targets, 2 base attacks. You can repeat it 5 times. Every run through gets you an Oppressor and a build token. Now, did they fix it? Can you go back and do the match to run through again and again?
No. So in chat as well, I've just noticed then that obviously there's a couple of people there saying it. And Monster, do you want to pick up on this, mate?
No, it's not working. Well, it's not working for me. Obviously, I did the first run through. I was like, sweet, that's not too bad. I'll do another 2 or 3 before I put my fleets on like rep and stuff, and went to activate it again, and it won't activate. So I obviously jumped on forums and I had a look to see if one of the mods or Doom had put up a post, and there's nothing there at all. Reading through everyone else's posts that I've put up, all I've been able to find from a mod or anybody is refresh the game and it will work. Well, here's a guy that's refreshed the game over 30 times and it's still not working. So I don't
Okay.
know. Mate.
Laredo
Laredo's
just
in
said,
chat just saying it's fixed at the moment, but you can always try it live while you're on air.
Yes, I could, couldn't I?
You never know. I might have a live update. And if it's not, we'll blame Laredo. Yes.
I thought we were blaming George.
No,
Well, we can
we always blame Laredo.
oh, did he have to come back?
Yeah, so there's a couple of good points there then. So clearly you're going to get some structure build tokens there, which is nice to have. It's always good to things. But, if you're happy with your frontline turrets, you don't have to use them, which is great because they're generic ones. So you haven't got to use them for this particular turret. So if you want to get like a mortar turret up or maybe you've got a hyena you want to put in, that sort of stuff, then they're yours to play with as you see fit, which is nice, So don't consider you must.
Do
what's
the rest
important.
with base parts.
Mm.
Just use these only for upgrading. Base parts everywhere. Hooray!
Well, I've just loaded back into the game and it's still not working.
It's not working for you.
No.
Okie dokie.
Laredo's fault.
Share screen, do it live, and Laredo can bring it back.
Hey, George's here. How you doing, mate? So a couple of people. It's interesting because the people that said the damage on this one here, for some people, it's really, really harsh and it's quite a stressful sort of like TLC. And for some people, saying, "Oh, do you know what? It's all right. It's quite decent. I can get through it, and I can use a mix of T5 and Tier 6 Conquerors, and I'm not having any problems." So I think I never rush into these particular TLCs. I always leave it 24 hours before I even start because there's plenty of time. We had the full week, and you don't necessarily. Bear in mind, this is a mortar chucker. You don't necessarily need 5 of them, and you probably those that even want to get the blanks. I don't think I'd charge out and build 5 of these because it's a glorified vendetta, really, isn't it? But we'll look at the blueprint in a second. So anyway, that's run through 1 and run through 2 and run through 3. Like I said, remember it's OP9 personnel only. So. And obviously once you run through 1, 2, and 3, then obviously it just goes straight to run through 3 for the subsequent cycles, so you don't have to start back at the beginning again. Right. So this is the fuel tank, the O1X. Okay, so this is obviously a turret special. It's got some bonuses which are quite nice and that sort of stuff. And just before
Very sexual.
it is good, but obviously you got to be careful what you put it on because it doesn't mix with certain specials, so you have to take some things off. So let's just say you wanted to put this. I know clearly it's obviously for the new turret, but obviously we always like mixing things around and that sort of stuff. So if you're thinking about putting this on because it's got a beast of explosive damage and a massive amount of splash, and you wanted to put it on obviously your cat morts, whilst it fits weight-wise, you won't be able to add it to the other specials that you're already using at the moment because it contradicts one of the other ones, and basically you have to remove something off, which I think was what was the shells? It was something shells, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Luminite shells?
Xinthium shells.
Zimp shells, that was it. Yeah, so you can either have one or the other, but you can't have both.
Why do I call them Zymphonite?
I have no idea, mate.
You get a bit more splash and an explosive, but you don't get the speed.
Yeah, so it's a trade-off, isn't it? So yeah, well.
Yeah, a lot more.
I prefer the speed over the damage. So
Yeah, I think I prefer the speed because otherwise they run past you, haven't they? So
Yeah.
But it's another thing for the toolbox. It's another spanner in the spanner set, and people end up using things, and in different areas and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it'll be what it'll be. But there we go. So that's the special, and it's in price pack. Was it 1 or 2? Can't remember. Let me have a quick look back. One, isn't it? So that's all right. So that's if you've got a couple of Apollos there and you can get through price pack 1, that's a nice special to have, to be honest. And you get structure built.
So it should work for what they call cold snaps or frostbite.
Frostbite.
Yeah. I mean anything that wants splash.
Anything with splash and explosive damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should work with those as well. So if you've got a couple of those laying around and you don't really have the tech to get all the way through this, but you can get that special, then it's a nice little special for that.
So it doesn't work with Zimp shells, but does work with Eruption Pyre.
Oh, I wonder if that's where they've got one of these, one of those cold snaps in the base hit ones of this, because there was one in like the back of it, and I was like, why is that there? And I wonder if they put the new special on it.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, you might have
That's
done.
pretty good marketing.
Yeah.
So real quick, if you have this replacing your Zinth shells and you have expanded concussive charge and eruption pyre, both at R15 and this thing on, your Catmort is going to have a splash of 78. 78 is almost 4 land tiles.
That's nuts.
So if you're wondering how you're getting hit, that's how. Stop talking.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got a lot of
Dive
splash.
better. I mean, that was the last 10 minutes of last week's show, wasn't it? You know, with people getting their vendettas taken out with splash that was only 60, and now we're going up even further. So obviously the speed won't be so quick. But if you just need one with you know, imagine if you put this on and you put priority targeting on it, that sort of stuff, and you got a vendetta on the outside, it's just going to turn around and go splash.
Well, hopefully they won't have the new whole build or priority targeting becomes kind of it kind of doesn't work all that well anymore.
No, but it's right on vendettas though.
Oh, it's fantastic versus them, yeah.
Against vendettas, it's all right. It works. You know, just have one turret. That's all you need. It's
That's all you need.
make a mess of them, because obviously, well, we'll talk about building up Prideful and you know, Bloodthirst and stuff in a minute, because most people vendettas aren't getting a great deal of boost these days. So. Right. Anyway, so there we go. So that's price pack 1 item, and let's go on to price the next one, which is obviously the explosive turret. You had some thoughts on this one, Brian, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. So 30,000 damage, 3 salvos, 10,000 damage a salvo. I mean, it looks fine. And then you remember that
There's a bot, isn't there? Yeah.
every frontline hull tier 6 has 90,000 or 80,000 explosive deflection. And even some of the older ones are going to do pretty well against it, because they'll. First off, the damage is going to get halved because that's how Kickstarter math works. Second, they're going to have turret defense of at least 50% because siege battery or frontline countermeasure or resonance capacitor, and they're going to have probably some sort of explosive deflection of their own, and the reload time is really long.
That's the bit I don't like.
No, you'll have eruption pyre against that.
Submerged.
You'll have eruption pyre though.
It's quite mad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same, isn't it? So for a change,
that's what it's good for.
but nobody really hits you with unless we're going to get a new
put
sub.
one right at the front of my channel, just for shits and gigs.
I'll put 1 in. Although then again, well, if they're coming in with hell rates, they're explosive defense bypass, yeah. So it'd be good against a lot of sub things.
Yeah,
It's worth a lot.
it is. And if someone does get caught with them, well, this thing's going to absolutely, with splash as well, it's going to annihilate her. You know, well, Ghost Crawler's had it in one volley, isn't it? So.
Oh god, that splash is 20. Oh, ooh, wow.
Yeah, that's a tile, isn't it, for splash? And obviously, when you start adding all the other splashes on as well, it's going to go nuts, isn't it? So, and it's interesting. The spread's only 80, which is actually pretty decent, because your splash is actually going to end up with the specials on it being more than your your splash. Your splash is going to be greater than your spreads, so you know that's not too bad. But yeah, well, I think it's again, it's another tool. You know, in this time of the turret.
Well, I mean, judging by what we've already got, it might not be so effective right now, but who knows what's coming in the future. So,
I must admit, I've hit a couple of bases this week, and I've
Next
seen
might have some explosive weakness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned for a couple of people. I've hit a couple of bases this week where people have actually gone in and they've got 6 or 7 high-end missiles now, and they're going all missiles. They've got rid of all the mortars in the middle, and they've all gone to executioners in the center and that sort of stuff, because they just think Liberator. But all it takes is the next holder come out that's immune to penetrative, and it's all going to have to go back again. So don't be
it's a lot of base parts faffing around.
Yeah, just don't be a one-trick pony. That's all I can think is
Yeah, which is why, like I said, I'll have one of these ahead of the curve if something else comes out this week.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
These
So anyway,
go on level 8 turrets, yeah.
I can imagine so, because it's quite a bit. Actually, that's something I was going to mention before. Is this here? Look at the power consumption, 30%, which is huge. So just bear that in mind.
Well, isn't it the same as what we were taking off in the form of the Zintium shells?
It is the same as the Zintium shells, yeah, exactly. But that's probably the reason why it can't stack, because in the day that would just go crazy even on a level 8 turret. So, I haven't done the TLC yet, so I haven't been able to play too much, but I had a quick look at one of them and took off something that was in comparable weight. And yes, you can do it if you've got no transformer on some of them, but if you start putting transformers as well, then you've got weight issues if you aren't careful. So, right, okay, and here we go, the Oppressor hull. Who's had a chance to have a look at this one?
Well, I had to play around with it, mate. It does look like quite a tasty hull, though.
Okay, Monster, take the lead, mate. What do you think on this hull? Tell us about it, and because you had a couple of rough ideas of builds and stuff, didn't you, as well?
Yes, mate. I think this thing with a couple of libs, mate, will just be devastating. Myself, but I don't know about you guys, mate.
Tier 6 version of the Vendetta, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, we expected it to be buffed up from a Vendetta as it's supposed to be a Tier 6 hull. So from what I'm seeing, it definitely looks like, it's got a significant buff. I like the repair time as well. Can't go wrong with 30 minutes.
It's in line, isn't it? I am liking the Tier 6 holes that they're in line with all the Tier 6 or Tier 5 stuff with on blank, blueprint repair times of 30 minutes. So as long as
I'm not really a fan of Bloodthirst and all that. I was hoping that died with the Tier 5s, but
yeah,
okay, fair enough.
Well,
Bloodthirst is back.
Yeah, I've got a slide on that in a minute. So this is
ballistic deflection, 90,000. That's awesome. I mean, all those people with 20 friggin' blunderbusters at the front of their channel thinking that they're going to stop riots, shove that out in front. Off you go. So like you said earlier, one trick pony's not going to cut it.
Yeah, I don't see a range on this aura.
Aura you're looking at.
Well, this is the second blueprint as well, because the first blueprint didn't even have on it defense handicap 100%, which is there. So I changed the picture over to this. Well, I changed that middle piece of defense movement and miscellaneous piece of the slide. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I can't see a retargeting range.
There's no retargeting range. I don't see a range on the Bloodthirst field of effect, which I'm assuming means it's just map wide.
Yeah.
So that's is that going to be 4,000 explosive deflection per hull?
It's just a remote retargeting mortar range large. Yeah, but so what's the drop off and what's the range?
I think it just means that each hull gains that. If it makes sense. Yeah.
Each one. Well, I think what it is is if say you have 3 of them and they all gain Bloodthirst, you're going to have a total of 12,000 explosive deflection.
Yeah. I saw in the forum actually Larry was explaining that a little bit on the Kickside forum, because a couple of people were that specific issue.
It does say like duplicate Aurora Cat 5, which I'm presuming is what George just said. Like if you have 3, then it duplicates the Aurora.
Yeah.
For times 3, it should be, let's see, 12,000 explosive deflection. Where's Brian to do math? 12,000 explosive deflection.
My calculator friggin' broke. Hang on.
I thought you were just a brain, dude.
Hang on, guys.
We had the team down. We didn't know you were using calculators. Any of us could have done that. Come on.
Guys, Hefty.
How much does the cat... Hold on. How much does the cat motor do?
Depends how you build it. About 45k. If you built it the way I built it.
With how many salvos?
Oh, I mean, I've got it right next to an outpost, so it goes an extra from the overload.
24,000 base, 3 salvos. My damage is 41,500.
8,000 a pop.
Yeah, plus if you have overload on your outpost, you get another cell.
Yeah. Wow, I don't know that this is gonna. That's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, it is interesting.
That's gonna take some driving.
Yeah. So RTFQ is.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, dude, this thing's not like it's Vendetta Tier 6 version. So I mean, you know what people are gonna do with it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing as they're doing with Vendettas.
Right, but if they only have 3 of them, they're not going to be able to sit underneath mortifier.
No, but they can still walk around, dude.
Like, I wouldn't say
70. What did we just say? 70-something splash. I'm just saying.
78 splash. Let's go.
Yeah, but the combat speed's what, 23? Shove an engine on there, maybe a couple of Scourge armors, considering you're not going to be running it into the base. You've already got a couple of decent tanks.
True.
Speed that shit around the outside.
Have you noticed the stun resistance as well on like this hull?
Yeah, I can't see why, because I'm not going to put it inside the channel.
Well, no, because if you've got 2 bloody tanks out, like, and everybody's got stun stuff in like the base now. This thing, I mean, I showed you that build with those stun plates, which you got, and you can get it up to 92 stun resistance. Like, so this thing shouldn't really stop firing, mate.
So Laredo just said that Aurora Cap means that Tier 5 Conqueror Bloodthirst won't stack or help a Tier 6 Conqueror Bloodthirst, and vice versa. So,
Yeah, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute. So, yeah, I've got a slide on that tonight specifically. Right, and also, Heavy, look, if you look under attack, remote target range is 100%. Okay, and targeting fall off is minus 10%. So,
yeah, that's really important.
yeah, so that's decent. Minus 10% is virtually nothing, which is great, you know, and it's a full 100% obviously on the range. So that's there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know,
I mean, I'm kind of glad that they're not bringing out weapons with these holes as well. Like
this doesn't need a weapon.
Didn't have one.
It
this
doesn't
didn't have one. Exactly. I mean, can you imagine if they brought out like a new mortar and it just like shot your base?
Garrison's coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like,
can
can you imagine if they did it now, though, before everyone had a chance to prepare for anything, and one-shot the entire base?
Abity death. George, go.
Yep, he's on.
George.
Take you off,
I wanted
George.
to say something.
I want to clarify something, so clarify it.
Damn it! I had my mute on. I didn't even realize it. Son of a bitch. I just want to clarify the duplicate aura cap from what Doom said is it's just a count of the auras that'll stack on a single ship. It's not a tier 5, tier 6 thing, although I think it might be how they differentiated some of them. But the actual duplicate aura cap is the count of how many auras can stack on that ship. So having 3 of them to get to the 12,000 explosive deflection is what it is.
So we were right the first time. Yeah, come on, Laredo, get your head in the game.
So, to me, the rival the rival Bloodthirst and the standard Bloodthirst is quite straightforward because one's a tier 5 hull, one's a tier 6, and they don't interact.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Bloodthirst is a completely separate thing that we've covered in an article.
But not for auras.
Yeah, auras and Bloodthirst
basically works the same as what the Centurion one did. Then the more you got stacked, the better it was.
Well, that's how this one stacks as well.
Pride.
Pride does that.
Pride you have in a fleet, more stacks you get, or whatever.
Yeah.
Not stacked, but yeah, you get the point.
Yeah,
Same
in the
thing,
fleet. Yeah, quantity. Yeah.
All right, so are we happy with this?
I think so.
The TLDR, this is better than Vendettas, unless the Vendettas have a Zoes, in which case those Vendettas are better. But as you get as you get more and more Bloodthirst, this will become better again at some number of Bloodthirst stacks that I don't care to calculate. Just use this.
I'm just wondering how many, because obviously as you get further into base, your primary your channel go getters are starting to die. So it'd be nice if this could ramp up and pick a bit more damage up as it's gaining its Bloodthirst. You know. So
that's right. I didn't. Oh, siege DPS. Do I explain this now?
If you like.
Yeah, feel well.
Okay. Siege DPS, damage per second, not shot. Somebody said shot?
No, not
Sorry,
shot.
Second.
Was damage per second. So what this is, and I've got the post from like 10 months ago explaining it. So assault and siege DPS, or quote, assault and siege DPS is divided up between every weapon slot on the ship. This bonus adds damage to the weapon according to the DPS based on the reload speed of the weapon. For example, a ship with 2,000 assault DPS and 10 weapon slots gets plus 200 assault DPS per weapon, so 2,000 divided by 10. A single weapon that fires every second will gain plus 200 damage per shot. A weapon that fires every 4 seconds will gain plus 800 damage per shot because of 200 per second times 4 seconds. So with this, let's take the Judgment Mortar. It's got a base reload time of 10 seconds. Skull rank cuts that down to 2.5. Just trust me, it does. The 50% mortar reload, assuming that's the only mortar reload that you have, is going to take it down to 1 2/3 seconds. So 10,000 siege DPS divided by the 8 weapon slots is 1,250 siege DPS per weapon slot, multiplied by that 1 2/3 we just came up earlier. You're going to get 2,083 additional siege damage per weapon slot per shot. So calculated back together, it's going to be about 16,000 and Yeah, 16,666. So 10,000 times 1 2/3. So there, that's going to help the damage even more.
You have me at donuts. I followed like the last bit where you finally added it up. That was the last bit I followed. And I was like, right, okay.
That's why I give a TLDR, because who has time for this?
Brian.
Yeah, right.
I have time.
Yeah.
Brian,
Yeah,
build
only
it, don't
me.
build it.
Build it.
There we
Use
go.
it.
There we go.
Bloodthirst it.
There we go.
I was going to build it anyway.
Hey. Good.
Good.
Brian's maths.
You need my maths just in case they bring out something like the Vasago's Punisher again.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that one.
Rightio, let's move on. Right. So there we go. It looks like a decent hull. It looks like definitely a decent blueprint, that sort of stuff. And it's another one to add to the box of toys. Next slide, then. Obviously, the Iron Maiden campaign's got back, which is great, because some people only have 3, some have 4, and that sort of stuff, And if you can do this campaign, the thing I like about it most is you get a free ship at the end of it, basically, because you get enough tokens and plenty of the XP and that sort of stuff. You get 10 Ironclad build tokens, which is great. And there's another 2 there as well. So on average, it's somewhere between 9, depending on your build, obviously, somewhere between 9 and about 14 days, I think, for most different sort of builds that I've seen out there. So this is a freebie. So if you can do it, and maybe you can't do the other one because this one doesn't lock you down to being an OP9 base, then it's a freebie, isn't it? So are we happy with this one being back?
Yes. Yes, especially with the tokens.
Yeah. I mean, they're linked specifically to that hull, obviously, but obviously, if you don't need another one, then I wouldn't bother it, because then you're just stuck with lots of tokens in your thing. And at the moment, we have nothing to do with the spare tokens that we can't seem to get rid of at the moment. So that's not a negative. That's just the fact that if you do it and you can't
But
use
maybe I want to build 22 Ironclads. You never know. Just fill my dock with Ironclads.
Infinite-based parts forever.
Exactly.
Just remind. Let's talk dock space at the end, okay? Because that's
yeah. Okay. Sure.
yeah, that's becoming a real bugbear, and we've got
Yes.
maybe some ideas on that for a plan. Look forward to sort of stuff, But yeah, it's something we just need to mull over anyway. Right. So the Iron Maiden TLC builds. There's some examples, okay, which is quite good. So we know the Iron Maiden can be done with Tiger Sharks. It's a bit of a grizz, but it can be done with Tiger Sharks. It can definitely be done with Hell Wraiths, and you can certainly blitz quite a bit of it with Tide Seekers. And Andrew put these together. They're on the website and that sort of stuff. So hopefully, if this works, we'll give it a go. And it did. Look at that. Look. Okay, so that takes us to our website, which is quite nice. And Andrew basically has put all the bits and pieces together. So there you go. There's all the different videos for each of the different stages, that sort of stuff. There's a Tiger Shark build on there. There's a Hell Wraith build on there. There's several Hell Wraith bees on there as well. So each level has basically got a corresponding build and that sort of stuff. So he's put that together for us.
I have to bring up, right, every time something special happens on the show, Mark sounds so unimpressed.
What do you mean?
I've just clicked on this link. Is that going to bring up? Yes, it does. And that's quite nice. It's just like, you couldn't sound less happy about it.
Well, it's an admin process, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's a task.
Can I just go, wow? Is that all right? Is that okay?
Yeah, you should. You should be like, wow, check this out, guys. It's awesome.
Okay.
We need to get Brian to do it from now on. He's much happier.
I was actually going to agree. What he said was, "Oh, that's nice for the website." We actually, yes, it's a very nice website, and we all have Andrew to thank because he works tirelessly on that.
Yeah,
He does.
Fantastic, phenomenal website with a lot of resources for people.
Sorry, was I sounding underwhelming then? Was I?
He was. I think
You
we
always
should Brian to do the next one now. I'm upset with that. I don't think you sold it enough, mate.
I'm a hard man to please.
My
Sorry,
light bulb is going to blow up any second. So if I scream, you know why.
we can't see that.
I know, but it keeps going funny.
Make sure you're standing in some water.
Oh dear.
TFC does not endorse standing under.
Not big. It's not clever, and it'll end
Don't
up-
try this at home.
He is.
We are professionals.
And just as
a professional, so.
watch the special effects. How amazing is this? Right, you can go straight back to the slides. Wow.
Oh, see, now that's much better. That sounded better. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
How much would you pay?
That's the first time I've done that in this program. I must admit, I've switched from 2 programs on another screen that I've got, and I managed to get from one thing into another, which is quite decent. Quite impressed. Right, guys, we asked for it. Okay, then we wanted it. We requested it. We got it. Okay, then the community asked for, can we do something, please, to get us into Sector Orange? And they did the most simplest thing possible. Okay, they added a simple target onto the world map with not making it too much extra clutter. And bang, there you go. Hit 3 of these babies, your Sector Orange straight away. And the good thing is, you can hit them with Tiger Sharks. I think it's great. I think it's probably the best ad, the simplest ad, and the simplest answer. And I don't think there's any sector now that probably could not get to Orange, so long as there's one player in the sector.
This is fucking great.
So you got your 5 towers. They're at the towers, okay, at the relay points, okay. There's 1 at each one. Just go around, and you can just go from like north through to south, going through central and that stuff, and boom, you're there. You're in Sector Orange, and you could be the only person in the sector now, and you can go and sort yourself out.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
What a way to sort it out. That's brilliant as far as I'm concerned. You know, 0 damage, and then straight away, if you do this literally at 3 minutes to the hour, then you're going to get the full 2 hours of taking your time then, and you know, with the right crews and that sort of stuff, you can do stacks of 91s.
Oh, it's about time, isn't it?
I think it's a brilliant idea, a real sensible fix, and I don't know who's which dev or which person got down to it, but yeah, props to you, buddy, whoever you were. Kudos.
Fantastic ad.
A great ad and a real simple answer. So
well, I think the thing that they also were recognizing was a lot of players were complaining about the titanium because more and more people are getting into the mega thing, right? They lowered the requirements for it. More people are getting their megas, and then everyone's like, we need orange. It's only 12,000 titanium, you know? And this is a fantastic way of solving it. I love it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, forget the fact, okay, people like, because I saw a couple of complaints saying, oh, I'm not doing that. It's only get 10 uranium. Well, that's because it's you know, it's a salvage, and all salvages only give 10 uranium. That's not what it's on about. They can't, you know, it's just salvage. The point is, it's the sector points, and it's 35k, and we know, you know, it's 104k to get Sector Orange and that sort of stuff. Well, this does that plus a little bit, so you're laughing. In fact, it does. You look, yellow is 950, and then it's 104 to orange, so it just smashes it out in one go. You can go teal to orange in 3 targets, which I think is fab. I have to say, I'm well impressed.
Interesting thing I found. I clicked the info button to see what the heck it was, and it said penetrating and explosive damage that it dealt. So I just took a Corvette in for fun, and it looks like those front V2s shoot out cryo launchers, which aren't penetrative and aren't explosive.
Yeah, so obviously yeah, because this is a little bit like the Snowfall. It's very similar to one of the targets in the Snowfall. It's a very similar fleet, which means they are as cryos at the front, so they're not only can you outrange them, obviously subs don't get damaged by cryos. So as long as you don't get spotted, and the thermal seems to be okay, that most people, I haven't tried it with bead torch, but I know someone's done it obviously with some sticks, and you're not getting spotted. So don't quote me on that. Someone give it a go if they want to. Fix overnight if we've made a mistake and let me know about it. But then yeah, the battleships obviously aren't going to touch you, or you can hit around the back first and knock out obviously the you know, the 2 ships that don't have thermal, and then take out the thermal ones afterwards. You know, do it that way around.
Yeah, most people that I've seen that have been hitting them have been hitting the masts first.
Yeah, that'd be the logical thing to do. Then there's zip that can touch you if you've got a submarine.
Yep.
You know,
which is, I mean, it's I'm so happy about this. It's great.
I think it's great. Yeah, I have to say, I think it's a real good ad. Good, kudos. Okay, well done. We like that one. It's nice to have something positive to talk about, which is great. You know, and right. I'll start. George can explain this one here. Okay, so we've had mate, you've read a whole blog on it, so that's fine. Just don't go off too mad because we've only got 20 minutes left. Okay, but so I just want to just expand a little bit as we're now starting to develop more and more holes in the Conqueror sort of area. That the interoperability, okay, or the exchange of special abilities does not work across the fleets if you mix the fleet types up. So yes, they are all Conquerors, okay? You can see that there's a Bloodthirst, the old tier 5 sets, and then obviously there's 5 of those that work together and that sort of stuff. There's the middle one with the oddball at the moment, which is the Pride full, for the pride itself, that gains pride full, and the more pride you put into that fleet, the bigger the bonuses get, by having more in that there. But obviously you can't stack them together because pride fullness disappears, or it's supposed to, but it has been glitched for a period. And then there's the rival Bloodthirst, okay, which means it doesn't counter Bloodthirst, it just means it doesn't work with Bloodthirst. So basically the rival Bloodthirst doesn't work with the T5 Bloodthirst hulls. So in a nutshell, if that Liberator kills a target, it will gain Bloodthirst, but the Bloodthirsts of the other ones that are in there that are tier 5, they'll get nothing, and vice versa.
I wonder why they just didn't call it something else than Bloodthirst.
Yeah, I think they should have called it something else.
There's several Bloodthirsts. Actually, the original Bloodthirst.
There are more. Yeah, because there's the ones
it was
for the
Revenge Bloodthirst.
Yeah.
So what happens is we have, I think, 5 in the game now. The Conqueror ones so far are just the Revenge and the Rivals. The
Prideful
Prideful
ability
ability,
and all sorts of stuff, isn't there?
yeah. There's Ironclads. There's the Alpha one, Tide Seeker one.
Yeah.
I think that might be it. But
But
the thing is like with the Conqueror hulls. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but you don't tend to mix those up. Where these are specifically designed for people doing PvP, and you do mix these up a lot, because that's the whole idea. It's the box of tricks and that sort of stuff.
Right.
It's the connectivity or the lack of connectivity across the different types of fleets, even though they're all conquerors, which doesn't need explaining.
So, like the original Bloodthirst is a Revenge Bloodthirst. We have the rival Bloodthirst now. The Prideful is actually an ability outside of the Bloodthirst. So it won't. There's no stacking of that one. That one just is a mechanic that works within the fleet of prides themselves. The catch is you don't, and we had to actually make a couple of examples, and they're in the blog on the article how the EFTA's Bloodthirst work. All you have to do, all the ship that has Bloodthirst has to do is damage the target. So if, say, the Liberator came in and hit a target and then moved away, and then the new Conqueror destroys it, it'll get the Bloodthirst. Or if you have like Prides and the Liberator, if the Liberator comes in and just damages a couple of things and the Pride comes back behind it and finishes the kill, the Liberator will still get the Bloodthirst tick. So it's much easier to read through the article. I don't know that I can articulate it well without really.
Which is nice when it comes to using the new hull, because obviously that's going to go in and be obviously the replacement for the Vendetta, which is on the outside. So long as your spotter's going in, let's just say it's going to be obviously the Liberator then, it's doing some damage, and then obviously the new hull does the remaining bit of damage, they're both going to gain out of it.
Yes. Well,
which is great,
the rival crosses lines too. If you have a Liberator sitting in the corner and the new Oppressor destroys the target, the Liberator will still get the tick.
Yeah.
Likewise, if the Liberator is going and rimming around to get the Bloodthirst, the Oppressor will get the ticks as well because they're both rival Bloodthirst. It's like
the same, the same group. Yeah, but you could put in, So we got that anyway. So that's fine. So that, I think, hopefully clears that up. There you go. Robin's put the link for the article actually in chat. Hi, Robin. How you doing? Thanks for that.
Oh, good. Thanks, Robin.
She's amazing. So that's good. Okay. Yep.
So new ship beats old ship at 7 stacks of Bloodthirst. Assuming you have 3 Vens and Zoe's Vendetta, and they've all got the Resonance Capacitor. Taking into account R&D 30 and the crit chance on the mortars from the aura itself, it takes 7 stacks. The lower damage fall off percentage for the new hull really makes a difference.
It's good. And obviously the fact that it's in the same format as the Liberator, by the time you get through half that front channel, you should have got those 7 stacks up and running then.
Everything should have exploded.
Yeah, it should start making a real good mess. So I'm thinking 3 of those will be quite decent.
And the beauty about this new hull as well is for people like myself that have come back to the game and haven't got all the Zoe stuff.
You don't need it now, mate.
We don't need it now.
Yep, you can put them away.
Well,
cool, excellent. So everyone's content with that, I hope. And if not, obviously the link to obviously the blog is there in the chat as well. So take that away. And obviously that's also on our website as well. Good, right. Must be Stu's time.
Yeah,
Alright.
just in time, I had to try and change your light bulb, and I'm a midget, so that doesn't work. That was very difficult.
It might be a
I
table
had to
lamp.
get my housemate to come in and change it for me, and then when he changed it, like he took the lampshade off or whatever, which I can't stand, and then put it on the floor. I was like, no, put it back on.
Do you live in the
So,
dark?
yeah.
Is that why you're not very tall?
So while you were all talking, we were having a little argument about the light shade. So yeah, right. Fixed an issue where players who were not present in the final combat of a campaign would not be awarded the badge for completion. Badges will now be awarded for campaigns where there are a prize whether or not the combat is actively viewed by the player.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. Reposition the bridge sprite on the spite hole sprite so that it is correctly centered on the hole. Wow, that was a tongue twister.
That is a tongue twister. You're right.
Okay. Corrected the display of... Shut the fuck up, George. Corrected the display...
I didn't say a damn
It
thing.
doesn't say that.
See, this is how he starts.
Right. Corrected the display of Forsaken... I hate you. Corrected the display of Forsaken R&D stat bonuses so that the splash damage reduction stat will not be displayed when the value for the bonus is 0.
Hooray!
Okay. How many pages, by the way, this week, do you reckon?
3.
12.
Did you do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 2, 2, so that way there's 3,
Alright.
messes them up?
The show unowned components checkbox will now correct the show unowned components when using the filter for base weapons and specials.
Yeah, that's been a bit goofed, really, hasn't it? Yeah. So
I hadn't
they were
noticed.
missing. Yeah, I checked last week, and some of the items, even though I hadn't had them, just before we did the last TLC for the Liberator, they're normally red, aren't they? And there was
Yeah.
nothing there. It didn't show anything. So
Oh.
Stu didn't notice because he's already got them all.
Yeah, it's just that's I didn't know if I probably already got everything.
I always check before the TLC. I just do a TLC and see what's it's there or it's not there, sort of stuff. I'm used to that because I was used to doing it in the previews. So
Yeah, I can see.
spy on things that way.
All right. So fix the bug where the scroll bar for the stat block displayed for a ship in the dock would scroll back to the top after a few moments without user input. That was so friggin' annoying.
I thought it was just my PC going wrong.
It was like Facebook, because Facebook does that to you sometimes. Yeah, you just be scrolling down the conversation, and all of a sudden it go bing back to the top.
I honestly thought that was my PC.
I couldn't view the stats for like Bloodthirst or whatever for anything for so long. It's like, why?
Then we go back to the main picture and press control and shift or stuff, so you can get the whole picture up. It's really, really annoying. And it only happened on some blueprints, didn't it? Not all.
Yeah.
I thought that was my PC. That's really weird.
Must admit,
I'd blame your PC too, if I'm honest. I'd just blame it anyway. Okay, so address the case where the repair time displayed for repairing the entire base after a base attack will be inconsistent between the base damaged pop-up and the base activity tab, which is true. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
Like, for
They
instance,
fix it with-
it'll say like 6 minutes left to repair on something, and then I'll go to map and then come back into the base, so it's got 3 minutes left to repair, and I'm like, oh, okay, lovely. Modified an issue with whole class restrictions. Previously, all tier 6 whole classes were restricted from engaging PvE legacy targets. This was unintended. We have corrected the restricted tier 6 Conqueror and Defender holes only. These holes will be blocked from engaging legacy PvE targets, as noted when selecting a PvE target. Okay, that confused the shit out of me.
You can hit PvE with tier 6 stuff now, because if you looked at it before,
If it's
it would say 0 to 5 and 99 for everything. But that shouldn't have been the case.
Okay. Right. That's lovely. What's
So
next?
that's when we go back to this slide here. So there we go. Again, cannot be used for PvE targets unless specified. Okay, that's why I put that comment in there. So just bear that in mind, all right? So always read the small print, in other words.
Right, you are. I
Click
just
the-
wasn't going to use it, but yeah.
Okay, and that's the end of the slides, guys. Okay, that's it for tonight. So it's quite decent. Now, I did say to George, pause on that, and we'll talk about it afterwards. And I totally forgot what the subject was. What were we going to talk on afterwards?
Dock space.
Dock space. That was it. Yeah, dock space. So the conundrum is this, okay, and let's go for the greedy BP player that wants the world, okay. And so with the outgoing of obviously the tier 5 holes, the incoming of potentially now it seems like one that obviously has one type of bloodthirst, one that has another. The pride's coming in, a few more defenders coming in, that sort of stuff, and then routine PvE stuff. It seems like we're going to be well stacking up into the 150 to 280 numbers of hulls, because I don't think, to be honest, that we can get it all in the current dock format that we've got now. My proposal for it was basically to split them and put conquerors into one side of a hull of your dock, and then to split across and put, because all the T6 stuff shouldn't be able to mix around with obviously the PvE stuff, and then have the remaining hulls obviously in a separate sort of subcategory or a secondary category. So the left like we do on the when we win the prizes, you have a left tier and a right tier, and basically then all your PvE stuff's on the left hand side, and you get 120 spaces, and all the PvP stuff's on the right hand side, and you get 120 spaces.
Yeah, but
that's nice. But I'd like to see some reward for recycling my ship still.
Yeah, well, I've done 30 at least in the last week, because I've got nothing left, no space, that sort of stuff. I've used up all the storage space and that sort of stuff, which is a Norse putting it in there and taking it out anyway. And I just think we need to split the dock down the middle and have two lots of 120.
Yeah, but as a lazy programmer, I would just increase the number and allocate more memory for whatever storage.
Increasing the number is not the fix, though, mate. It's and the spikes get small at the top, because you're going to we're getting 10 in there now, or 12, what it is, or 14, or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is, but it's starting to get really, really small on the spikes at the top. So I just think cut it in half and just flip it, from one to the other.
Where do you use every hull you've got?
I mean,
when we were doing the numbers before the show, I mean, what we said just for PvE currently, right? You're going to have the 4 sets per year, and because you don't want to, have any issues, you make sure you build both of those fleets. So that's 40 hulls right there.
Mm.
Then not counting the transition fleet, the transition fleet that you need for whatever PvE raid type thing that we're going into, that's another 5, that's 45. And then if we get to the point where we go back into skirmish and they don't change targets on the map, you need to keep your Apollos to do the hundreds, right, to get into yellow. That's another 5 or 4. You're up to 55 now, and I mean, you're almost at half of your dock just for PvE content, not counting any of the conquer fleets that you want to do or anything extra that you want, or
defenders,
something
holes.
Needs to get. Yep.
Oh, actually, you can't really call them mega holes now, can you? Because there is a mega hole.
Capital ships.
Yeah, whatever you want to call them.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Nemesis, Ghost Crawler,
the space,
as well.
Yeah, the space has become very contracted, so something has to be done. I don't know exactly what. Maybe they can do the 2 dock idea that Mark said, but have it within the shipyard where you can just click which a button to go number 1, 2, or 3, just like we have storage now, right? They can maybe use the same mechanic to do that. I mean, but something has to be done. It's gotten.
I just think frightened of storage.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, in the early days, I lost some things in the storage, and I had sent in tickets and they rebuilt them for me and that sort of stuff. So, there definitely were some bugs. Lately, though, I'm using it a lot, and I'm finding it very helpful, and I must admit, but I'm having to use it a lot. But then I got to a stage where actually I was out of storage space, and I was almost, I was at 118 holes and that sort of stuff in my normal stuff. And I don't, things that you bought, you don't want to get rid of, because old campaigns come back and you go, oh yeah, I can use that now, and I can use this,
Yeah.
But I do think if it's just a button on the left-hand side of the dock that just then flicked up and then only highlighted, and then obviously you could put in your conqueror holes, or a button on the right hand side that just did your PvE stuff, and it just gives you all the space in the world then.
All right, and here's the thing: like a lot of people are complaining about it, and it is an issue. We recognize the issue, and we've actually a couple of us have already brought it up to Kicks several times now. So it's something that is being looked at. It's not like we're out in the cold, screw you guys. It's just, again, Kicks is a company. It takes some time to work through stuff, so you're not going to see a fix tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a priority list. There's always a priority list of things that need to happen. So
yeah,
the problem you've got is the rotation of targets, mate, from raid to game, because they're rotating so quick. We're going through so many hulls so fast, like.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I guess that's kind of true, but at the end of the day as well, like, you have to think that once those targets go to map, at least you're actually getting use out of your fleets now.
Yeah, that's
like,
working.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back a couple of years ago, you built a fleet, and within the month it was shite. Like, excuse my French, but
Hellhounds?
you know, yeah, that's exactly. You know, it's there's so much more use now for the fleets that you're actually building. Like, I still have a use for my Hellwraiths. I mean, I don't use them that often. I still have a use for my Tideseekers, and I use them a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing the map targets, and they said this is exactly what they were planning, so we would have longevity in fleets.
Yeah, which is cool.
Targets,
but
we're seeing
something needs to be done about dock space,
but the catch is
a recycle reward.
Yeah. But the catch is too, though, is when we see them in the TLCs, part of the dock space issue is that so far that we've seen, to do well in the TLC, we've had to have both of the fleets. Like when we had the I don't remember the name of it, the last one, that you had to have both the Tideseeker and the Hellwraith, because otherwise you would run out of time if you're trying to do it one way or the other only, or use a lot of coin.
The Iron Maiden, the one we have now.
Is that the one? On the last one, I think that's the one.
It's the S set.
So if you wanna do it quickly and with less or fewer coins or less coins and no coins, and still do it within the time limit of the 1 hour, you had to use both your Tideseeker fleet and your Hellwraith fleet, right? So that means going forward, we're now conditioned to want to have to build both fleets. And I'm pretty sure Stu feels the exact same way as I do. I am really not happy with my Ironclad fleet, even with the Harlock clad in front. I don't use it. I spent all this time and all this energy to freaking get them ranked and built and everything, and I'm not using them.
No, yeah, I mean, they're not as good as the Tideseekers, really, are they? I mean, the Tideseekers were absolute bosses.
Yeah, as a secondary,
the Ironclads as a secondary was kind of a letdown, I guess, because our hopes were too high because of the Tideseekers. Maybe
Possibly,
we were like, oh, this is going to be amazing.
But the thing is,
these targets, but it's not.
But look, Stu, here's the thing, though. You built the fleet, right, because you think you might actually have to use it in the future, in which case that takes up another 5 slots in your dock, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and that just exacerbates the whole dock issue.
My main issue with having to build the Ironclads and the Cannoneers is more that I have to build both. That's my main issue. I mean, I am quite annoyed that my dock space is.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, it's a 3-month raid cycle. It's very hard to get both done in time. I mean, I guess with all the token offers and that, it's a lot easier days. But yeah, it's still not exactly what I'd call shortened build times. So I'd like to see something happen. Like, perhaps they should offer like the auto hull and then make the auto hull a very, very cheap build for like players that are trying to get back into the game. And then the skill hull should be the build it is now.
To me, the Ironclad's a semi-auto hull. You can start it off in the first couple of seconds and then just leave it go. Once you get them in a decent direction so they don't stack on each other, then you can just ignore the target and walk away from like the 97s and that sort of stuff for base spots.
Yeah,
I'm sending one to the left, one to the right, like I said, one to through the center sort of stuff, and then they're as long as the first one goes first and gets obviously it's Bloodthirst for the remainder, which I always make sure that does with nothing that's going to fire back at me. Then I'm happy just to step out the target and let it crack on and go and find another one and bookmark it and stuff. And with 3, it's done in seconds. It really is fast, but it isn't the auto hull. That's the thing, which was not totally. So
it was posted as an auto hull, and it's not really performing as an auto hull. So in my opinion, I've wasted dock time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll move on. I'll get over it.
We'll see. Anyway, so Stu, just Monster, in fact, just a favour. Can you refresh your game again, mate, and just see if that campaign's come back on or not for us?
Yeah, I'll just load it up, mate.
Just out of interest, because it's been an hour now, and I'll give Laredo the benefit of the doubt, because he's normally on target with most things. So if it is up and done, if not, then he'll know now that it's not, and he can pass it back up, but it's still not working properly. So frustrating. Just let the guys go in chat there. We are planning to get some of the Kickside team on in the next couple of weeks or so. That's our intention anyway. There's a few plans happening. George is working on some bits of bobs, so am I. So we have some look forward stuff hopefully, because there's quite a lot to happen. Obviously, we've only got a couple of weeks to go for the raid, which obviously starts on the 16th. Targets will change after that raid format and that sort of stuff. You know, there's a few things coming up in the future that we need to know about, and I think the new whole system and the passage.
Maybe get an explanation of it.
Yeah, we could do a few explanations, I think.
Still not working, and still saying that I've completed the campaign.
Okay, mate. I know that was a problem for last time I was liberated. Some people just couldn't get it done. They had to wait the whole week, and they still couldn't get it done, so they had to submit some tickets with the correct evidence that they couldn't do it. So, you know, if you're trying to do it today, obviously take a screenshot to show that you can't, and try and do it tomorrow. Take another screenshot and that sort of stuff with timestamps and that sort of stuff, and then, you know, you've got your evidence there, and I'm sure the guys will
probably
support
reimburse you or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know it actually happened to Liam.
Team, am I just toast? If that happens to me, am I just screwed?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, what? You can't get support?
No, he has no support.
Get wrecked. The bigger fish wins.
The big fish wins. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, guys, we'll draw stumps there, and that's it. If we're content, we're just about on the hour. Anybody got any points they want to bring out quickly?
Yeah. No, Brian, you're not screwed. I'll send in a ticket for you because I clearly spent
Do I have to
enough.
pay you for that? Spend enough for both of us. No, I have to wait.
Good
I
shot.
have to wait. I'm waiting to start the TLC until I know this is fixed because,
Yeah.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea, mate.
So enjoy your free Cannoneer, guys. I saw you're a free Ironclad because it's another one. If you got the dock space for it, that's good news. And I'll remember to be less like Crichton and more underwhelmed or overwhelmed, whichever you want to look at it. So, way, so good.
Yay!
Right, have a good
You
week.
can't see me, but I actually waved at my screen and everything and went, yay!
Okay,
I
and
realised I don't have a
I'll
camera.
chat to you all at the weekend. Take it easy, and remember, if you're not sure, jump on the Forsaken Cancer website. Just Google Forsaken Cancer, you'll see it. It'll come straight up. It's about number 3 on the hit list. So I don't know how Andrew managed to winkle that, but it definitely turns up quite quickly. Or it's just not a very unusual word. I don't know what it is. But all the very best, and we'll speak to you Saturday night for those who want to come on. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.